In Wisconsin, obviously, water is one of our prized resources.
It is the most valuable asset that this community has.
I think people see the value of having good, clean water and a beautiful scenic landscape, and they define our town.
If we don't take care of the waters today, we're not going to have the water resources that we currently have in just a few years.
We'd see an adverse impact on our local economy as well as a real degradation of the quality of life. It would be a significant loss to our community.
Water, 70% of the Earth's surface, up to 90% of our body's vital organs. It is the essence of life itself. The hydrologic cycle of rain, followed by evaporation and condensation, has sustained our planet for billions of years. Under natural conditions, rain and snow fall on forests and meadows, soak into the ground, and are purified underground by natural process on their way into the groundwater table or nearby streams and lakes. The next time you're in a rainstorm, watch where the water goes. Does it soak into the ground, form a puddle, or flow off toward a storm drain? The precipitation that does not soak into the ground or evaporate is called stormwater runoff. It flows over the ground surface and into storm drains and ditches that empty directly into our local waterways, and that is how problems can develop. A variety of created surfaces now cover much of our communities. Most of these surfaces are impervious, which means water cannot pass through them. Even home lawns absorb far less than natural areas do. These impervious surfaces act as a speed ramp, increasing the volume, velocity, and power of the flowing water. That rushing water takes the fast lane to low-lying areas and receiving waters, easily carrying debris and pollutants with it. The old concept of stormwater being primarily a flooding and drainage issue no longer stands. Now, stormwater is recognized as a major contributor of pollutants to the surface waters of our nation. This type of pollution is sometimes called non-point source pollution because it comes not from a single discharge pipe at a factory, but from a wide variety of sources dispersed over the landscape, resulting from our own everyday activities, even in our own driveways and backyards. With that in mind, these 13 towns, villages, cities, and counties in the lower Chippewa River Basin have united as the Chippewa Valley Stormwater Forum. Our goal is to protect our priceless waterways, the lakes, streams, rivers, creeks, and wetlands that drain the areas where we live, work, and play. We call our program Rain to Rivers, Wise Choices for Cleaner Waters.
We all have our own programs, but through working together through the Chippewa Valley Stormwater Forum, we've been able to come together and share all of the information.
Waterways are very much a part of recreation, of scenic beauty, of actually tax dollars coming in because of their aesthetics and because of their recreation potential, and so all cities need to do that.
As you'll soon see, there's a lot we can all do in our own communities and even our own yards to help keep our waterways clean.
Most people notice the problems from the larger rainfall events where we have flooding and we have erosion. But most of the pollutants get washed into our waters from the smaller events because we have so many more of them. 80% of our rainfall comes from the events that are 1 inch or less. And so the things that we can do to treat those smaller runoff events go a long way to improving the water quality of our rivers and streams.
Naturally, some rain soaks into the ground, and some forms puddles that evaporate. But as the amount of rainfall increases and the ground becomes saturated, as much as 50% of that rain can become runoff during large rainfall events. That leaves millions of gallons flowing across lawns and pavement on the way to our storm sewers. Storm sewers are like underground rivers beneath our homes, and just like living down by the riverside, whatever you put in this water can go downstream to a neighboring community.
Excuse me, sir, do you know where these drains lead to?
Wouldn't that be the sewage treatment plant?
A lot of people probably don't even consider where water goes when they wash their car or when they water the lawn. when it just goes down the drain out into the street.
Stormwater is not treated or even filtered of trash, and the drains in the streets send everything that goes into them right into our area's streams and lakes. In other words, what goes in here flows out there. This is the Chippewa River, one of the dozens of rivers, creeks, or lakes that stormwater in our area flows into. The area that drains to each of them is called its watershed. You can go to our website and find which watershed you live in. Our daily activities often cover surfaces with a coating of unpleasant and often hazardous materials, pet waste, toxic metal particles, pesticides, fertilizers, leaking oil, gasoline and grease, harmful bacteria, excess nutrients, waste paper, trash, and more. Urban communities aren't the only sources of pollution. Rural areas can also play a role, with waste from farm animals and fields treated with fertilizers and pesticides. Every time it rains, the accumulation of pollutants can be washed into local waterways. As portions of the rural landscape are chiseled away to form sites for new housing or business development, the environmental effects can be sudden and widespread. Improperly set up construction sites can be a leading cause of water quality problems. With vegetation stripped away during construction, bare soil is exposed to the surface and becomes susceptible to erosion during rain.
During the construction process, we have quite a bit of sediment that can leave the site and enter water resources, to the tune of, for every 1 acre that's developed, we may have a dump truck and a half of sediment entering our streams and lakes.
Because of that, builders are now required to install practices such as silt fences like these to trap sediment that washes off construction sites before it flows into area waterways. And they cover bare soils with straw mats to prevent it from washing off the surface. They're also required to install other practices that keep soil and debris from entering the streets, such as stone tracking pads. On a larger scale throughout our communities, new neighborhoods are now designed and built with enhanced water handling capabilities already in place. Stormwater retention ponds are designed to store a neighborhood's runoff long enough for the water and pollutants to settle out and reduce flood risk. Some ponds are also designed to promote infiltration of stored water into the ground, where it's purified and recharges groundwater.
So there are some alternative methods for managing stormwater known as low-impact development, and those deal with leaving the water on the land as long as we can and having it infiltrate down into the groundwater rather than going right into the storm sewer and right into the river.
Communities throughout the region are taking a number of steps, large and small, to control and treat runoff before it can reach the waterways.
This parking lot is an example of what can be done to incorporate swales and vegetation to help the water soak into the ground and to be filtered before it enters the storm sewer.
Here in River Falls, we've narrowed up a street and have added a small grassy depression. This depression allows water to flow down the curb line and into this area where it can then soak into the ground.
We're implementing such things in our stormwater management plan as installing rain gardens. This is a demonstration rain garden that we worked together with the University of UW Stout and putting it in to help treat water that's running off of Phelan Park before it enters the Red Cedar River.
It's proactive planning and community-wide efforts such as these that are the keys to better controlling the stormwater problems we face. There are many positive actions we can all take to turn back the tide of troubled waters and greatly reduce our effect on the environment. Here are just some of the things you can do in your own yard and neighborhood. Conserve water. Keep your rain. Maximize infiltration in your yard by directing rainwater away from paved areas. Plant a rain garden filled with attractive grasses and wildflowers to maximize water absorption into the ground. If you can't have a rain garden, aim your downspouts away from the pavement and onto grassy areas or into a rain barrel.
When managing stormwater, every little bit helps, such as installing rain barrels at home, such as this one here, which help control the rainwater, store it for future use, versus letting it run down your driveway and carrying contaminants to the stream.
Be a pooper scooper. Pick up after your pets. You can flush pet waste down the toilet or bury it 4 to 6 inches deep in the yard. Do not put it in your vegetable garden or compost that will be used for your garden. Keep leaves and grass clippings out of the street, gutter, drainage ditches, and storm drains. Let your lawn reach a height of 2 to 3 inches to better capture rainwater. When you do mow, leave the lawn clippings on and sweep up grass or leaves that land on the sidewalk, driveway, or street.
Leaves are basically full of nutrients, so when leaves break down, they end up leaching out nitrogen and phosphorus, and if you blow them out into the curb area or out into the road, they're going to flow down into the storm drain, end up in your rivers and lakes, and that's going to break down and it's going to give the river or lake a surge of nutrients at that time.
Kick your chemical dependency. Use non-toxic alternatives to conventional household chemicals whenever possible. When not possible, properly dispose of those chemicals such as oil-based paints, cleaning chemicals, pesticides, solvents, batteries, and disinfectants. Never dispose of hazardous chemicals in the storm drain. Learn more about how to properly dispose of hazardous chemicals through your local Clean Sweep program. Practice careful car care. Regularly maintain your car or truck. Keep it tuned up and fix any oil, radiator, or transmission leak as soon as you see them. A rainstorm can easily carry away leaked oil, antifreeze, and brake fluids. If you change your own oil, make sure to take the used oil to a recycling collection site. Never pour it behind the garage, on the driveway to kill weeds, or down the storm drain. How you keep your vehicle clean also has an impact. Washing your car in the driveway can create contamination problems if the dirty, soapy runoff can wash down a storm drain, picking up oil and other pollutants as it goes. Try washing your car on the lawn, or better yet, take it to a commercial car wash that sends its dirty water to a wastewater treatment plant. Don't overfeed your lawn. Runoff fertilizers can feed lake or pond plants to the point that lakes and streams are choked by algae and weeds, making them unpleasant for recreation and depleting oxygen levels to the point it becomes dangerous for fish. Similarly, restrict your use of pesticides. Runoff pesticides can harm living things in water. Use proper containers for trash and recyclables. Don't litter or put trash into the street or gutter where it can be washed into the storm sewer system. Cigarette butts, paper cups, and similar items can be carried intact into our waterways and remain there for years. Keep soil in your yard and out of our waterways. Bare soil easily washes into the storm drains. Cover exposed soil with seed and mulch as soon as possible. Cover piles of soil for your yard or garden with a tarp until you're ready to use it. If you're building a new home, choose a builder who takes extra care not to track mud onto the streets and who utilizes other proven methods that can prevent your soil from washing off your lot during construction. Be a watershed watchdog. If you see a potential stormwater problem, such as a clogged storm drain or trash in the gutter, do what you can to clear the area. If the problem is beyond your capabilities, such as pollutants washing into a storm sewer or uncontrolled erosion from a construction site, contact your local municipal or county public works department. Make friends with your watershed. Join a local watershed or conservation group and help clean up waterways in your area. Check out our website for links to local organizations working to clean up our waterways. As you can see, a small number of simple and easy steps can help ensure that only rain goes down the drain. The more we can prevent the problems at their source, the less need and expense there'll be to come up with solutions later. We must stay committed to providing effective solutions to all stormwater challenges that face our community. What we do in our own backyards and our own communities can make all the difference to the quality of our lakes and streams. It's up to you, it's up to all of us to make it happen. Rain to rivers, wise choices for cleaner waters.